you're genuinely screwed no matter what. Like, you're screwed here because everything's expensive, and so you like kind of have to have insurance, and if you do, that's typically also expensive. And then somehow miraculously, when you go to the hospital, you end up paying a bunch anyways. But like if you go to like a more socialist model, like Anna has struggled with this a lot. She's like, I'll just like, like I'll just go to the doctor for things, and like I pay like pocket change for stuff, right? But like the trade-off is that like like the typical income tax in Germany, like I mean, there's a range, of course, based on income, but like it's pretty standard for it to be like 30, 40, up to 60% of your check is like your income tax, right? So it's just like, it's the American mindset is like, don't tread on me, right? Like I want to live my own life and don't tell me what to do. And so like the flip side of that is like, okay, well, if you're not like contributing monetarily to these things, then they're going to be a lot more expensive, right? Like basically Germans pay their insurance in a way as part of their income, right? Like they're paying a significant amount up front in a way, as opposed to us where we kind of just like,
which is kind
we
of
want
like
to pay as minimal taxes as possible, and then when the tragedy strikes, then we're like paying through the nose.
Which I guess in a way, because like what they're doing with their tax is it's kind of like paying insurance, because like technically I don't usually get anywhere close to using what I pay for in my insurance, because I go to like maybe a couple doctor's appointments a year maybe, and it's not like I've had like broken bones and extended hospital visits and all the things where it's like, wow, I'm really getting a lot of bang for my buck here with having an insurance plan. So I get that that's kind of what they're doing, but it is also like, I still think that there's something like systematically or like fundamentally wrong with some of this stuff, because like I'm sure you probably see some of it with working in a hospital, that like we all know that they also like ridiculously upcharge things just because they can.
Oh like, boy, I could tell you stories all day. Screws, medical grade, everything's medical grade, right? Screws that cost $10 a piece, like just a little screw.
Yeah.
That just goes like holds two pieces of plastic together, $10 a piece, like things like that. Where you, like it's always a game in the shop. Somebody will walk in with something and they'll be like, guess how much this costs?
I know.
And you're always under. It's so
I've seen
terrible.
people make jokes about, or like maybe not make jokes, but like saying like you should, if you ever get a hospital bill, you should ask for itemized and go through it, and then like somebody was like, hey, you charged me for a scalpel. Where's my scalpel? I want it. Like if you're charging me for that and you're not ever gonna reuse it, it belongs to me. You charged me for that.
Walk out of there with a bunch of paraphernalia from the hospital.
Or like you hear like the classic people will be like, yeah, they charged you like $15 for a single aspirin or something, and it's like I could buy
and it's not a joke.
Like I could buy 3 bottles for that. Like it's so stupid. So that's what I'm saying. Like
it's like going to a restaurant for your health. It's just like, well, I could make this at home. I could buy that Coke at Walmart, but I guess I'll pay 3 times as much for the experience.
Except it's not even that. With a lot of things, it's more like, let me go spend 500 times as much as it would cost me to make this at home.
Or that.
Like,
and it's only this expensive because insurance exists, right? Or that it's you're supposed
I think it's a self-sustaining cycle. I think they feed off of each other.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It needs reform, but I don't even know how you fix it. Like, it needs to be fixed. It's clearly it's a big problem. And insurance is stupidly expensive too. Like, it costs so much more than it should.
Yeah. That's why we don't have any.
I mean, I have insurance because I get it through work and I get it for a really good price. And like Bradley's is paid for. And actually, like his will be really good when we have the baby. His coverage, he has like basically the same coverage as I do. It's like $1,000 deductible, $4,000 out of pocket max. When we have the baby, the baby will only cost us like $130 a month to be on his insurance. And Nevada, nice. Not every state is like this. Like Washington is not like this. So it sucks if you have more than one kid in Washington because they charge per kid versus like Oregon and Nevada and a lot of states. It's like if you have one kid or if you have 15, it costs the same amount. Like you just pay to have like a kids on your insurance. Thankfully, Nevada is one of those. So like we wouldn't have to pay for an additional kid. Like it's like you just pay the flat rate. But states like Washington, it's like, oh yeah, if you have one kid, here's how much it is. But if you have two, now it's like twice as much. And it's not actually twice as much. It's kind of graded,
Which
but like
makes sense from their perspective.
Yeah, but it also becomes so expensive if you have more than one kid.
Oh, of course.
It's like
maybe it's a population control thing.
Maybe. It's crazy. We have some of our clients that are like they're like apostolic groups, is what we call them. So, like, they have, I don't exactly know, like, it's some kind of, apostolic has to do with some type of, like, Christian sect that these people are part of. They have tons of kids, though. Like, think like the more, like, traditional, like, Mennonite families that'll have, like, 12 kids. It's like that. And these families will have so many kids. Like, some of them legitimately have, like, 15 children. And we have a couple of them that are in Washington, and I'm just like...
Yeah.
Like, I get it. There's probably a religious component of like we feel like we're like morally obligated to have as many kids as we can, but it's like, bro, you live in the wrong state for that.
Oh yeah. Ouch. That's crazy. All right,
we gotta be efficient this time. We gotta save this for the end.
Yeah, we're gonna start up front with the business. So today we're talking about Crimes of the Future. This is David Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future from 2022. I'm Nate.
I'm Karina.
I'm Aaron.
And this podcast is limited to everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice job, Nate.
We're just going to get that out of the way. All right, so apparently this is our first tentative steps into art house films, apparently, which none of us knew was happening until we all turned this movie on. At least I'm assuming you guys didn't. I didn't do any research before I picked this. I was like, Viggo Mortensen, I love. David Cronenberg, I've seen a couple of his things and enjoyed them, so I don't want to know anything else. Let's just do this, right? And do it, we did.
I think I told you guys last week when we recorded that, like, the title of the movie made me think of, like, Minority Report. So I went in with, like, wildly different expectations. Which, like, to be fair, I don't think that the title of the movie accurately prepares or adequately prepares anybody for the film. But, like, I went in, like,
that's like
night and day.
Going into Poor Things and thinking that it's going to be, like, a rom-com or something. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, expectation is everything.
To be fair,
anyways, Crimes of the yeah, go ahead.
Well, to be fair, Poor Things is a bit of a rom-com, a romantic comedy.
It's I don't know if I'd call
asterisk
it a comedy,
on the
though.
romance. It's definitely
that's like
a comedy.
subplot.
Wait, the one with Emma Stone, right?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd call it a comedy.
Maybe a black comedy.
Exactly. Yeah, like, definitely.
Yeah, I guess so. It's absurdist, I guess. Absurdist humor, kind of. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like Poor Things. Yeah. So, Crimes of the Future takes place in we're assuming, somewhat near future.
Well, it's not.
Where people are
stated.
starting to have. People are starting to grow more organs for whatever reason. I mean, that's kind of part of the film is we're figuring out why, right? But like, there's these kind of people that kind of have like this mutation and they're growing more organs, and so the film focuses on Viggo Mortensen and his partner Caprice, I think, and them being on the performance art scene of things with her in front of live audiences, like doing surgery. Like surgery has become normalized in this way, and turning it into an art spectacle of like surgically removing these like weird organ growths that he's having. And there's like kind of the real plot comes, and it's kind of in the background for a while, but kind of the real plot is that like there's this group of plastic eaters which are people who have surgically changed their bodies to be able to digest plastic, which thankfully we don't get into the nitty-gritty science on that because I don't think it would hold up. But that's the premise for this like sect, this like cult of people, right? And kind of there's a lot of pushback on that, and kind of the whole thing is that like it's starting to happen naturally, right? Like there's this kid at the beginning of the movie who has like naturally able to eat and digest only synthetic stuff, right? And we find out at the end of the film that Viggo Mortensen's actually the same way. And so that's the general plot. Oh, what were your guys' first impressions of this?
Well, did you guys watch it with other people? Not the movie to do it. Like, the whole time I had my brother and sister like looking over at me like, what? Why are you guys watching this? Who picked this? He should be committed. And I was like, no, none of us knew this movie before coming in.
I was, it made me laugh because I was like, ooh, we back at it with the body horror.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we talked about that a little bit. I think Aaron mentioned, like, isn't Cronenberg a body horror guy? And I was like, I don't know. The only Cronenberg films I've seen weren't really. So, like, I don't know. I didn't know to expect that. But
I mean, this one definitely falls squarely in that category. So
yeah. So apparently, like,
definitely.
In the 80s and the 90s, this was his shtick, and it got to the point where, like, movies that had the similar sort of thing going on, it was described as a Cronenberg film, or Cronenbergian, I don't know. And then from 1999 onwards, he didn't do it anymore. So that's probably what you saw, something from that era.
Yeah, everything I saw was in the aughts, I think.
Yeah, and then he got back into it with this. This was the first thing that he's done since 1999, according to the internet.
He has another movie from 2025 that I actually kind of want to watch. It recommended it to me on Amazon after I watched this, and it looked interesting.
From him?
What, another Cronenberg or some other movie?
Yeah, it's called The Shrouds.
So this movie didn't, like...
No.
You're like, because you like...
I want some more of that.
You're like, well, do tell.
Oh, I thought you were saying because of the body horror thing. Like, I mean, as I pointed out to you guys last time when we watched, like, the substance, like, that, like, it's, I mean, I wouldn't say that I would go, like, seeking that kind of stuff out, but also, like, it didn't bother me nearly as much as it bothered you guys, like, the body horror. I mean, especially Nate. Like, the body horror stuff, definitely, it's, like, it's weird, but it doesn't, like, freak me out to the point where I'm like, oh, that's disgusting, I can't watch it, like...
Most of this movie was...
I was more weirded out by the, like, eroticism of it than the actual body horror.
That's a whole element to this that we'll definitely have to talk about, right?
Surgery is the new sex.
Surgery is the new sex, right? Like, it's...
Which I have questions about how this works, to be honest.
I have a lot of questions. And this movie gives you a lot of questions and not a lot of answers. And
which is fine in a way, but
let's get some of the hate out of the way first, though, so that we can maybe dig into some of the other concepts that it's grappling with. Have you guys? I mean, just from watching this, I don't know if art house has a strict definition, but I would definitely qualify this as art house filmography. Would you guys? And have you ever watched anything that's art houseian?
Not off the top of my head.
I don't. I feel like I need, like, some parameters, I guess, on what would be considered art house, because I feel like that's kind of a vague... Like, I know it's a term that gets used for things, but, like, I've never seen a definition for it, I guess.
I feel like it's kind of synonymous with, like, both low budget and just handling very weird,
kind of.
Just experimental, like, weird subjects, weird... Everything's just... It's unconventional. Right?
Yeah, they're not going to hold your hand. Like, what was that term you said that Netflix was doing?
Oh, like the second screen view.
Yeah, like they don't give a fuck about that.
For sure. Yeah, they're like, we don't care how confused you are.
And you need to...
We will not be elaborating.
Yeah, you cannot be looking at your phone with this one, otherwise you will miss out on stuff.
Right.
I had both Natasha and Jason asking questions.
Right,
well, especially because so much of this movie happens without dialogue. So like you really can't be looking at it because there's so much of it that is like you need to be watching what the actors are actually portraying.
Reading between the lines.
Yeah.
So for parameters, just looking at IMDb of like top 50 like essential must-see whatever art house films. Requiem for a Dream. That's one I'm familiar with. Haven't seen it. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh, that's a good one.
Donnie Darko.
Also good.
Just looking for other ones. Tree of Life. I don't know if anybody's seen that
yeah.
one. Being John Malkovich. That's an interesting one.
You like that movie.
Well, I like John Malkovich. That movie's kind of weird. But 2001: A Space Odyssey apparently qualifies.
Interesting.
Where the Wild Things Are. Blade Runner. Okay, so I was thinking about Blade Runner a lot while watching this. Actually, it gave a lot of similar vibes. Yeah,
same.
The Machinist. That one's pretty crazy. Mulholland Drive, Moon, Revolver. So, it's just like fringe stuff, right? And those are like the mainstream ones, and even still, a lot of those would be considered fringe films, other than probably Blade Runner. The thing about Blade Runner, so like that's what's so interesting about this film is that like to me, art house means low budget, right? Like, and you can see that in this film. Like I don't know what the budget was, but like the sets are obviously sets. Like anything out of doors is obviously a set, like almost painfully obvious, and it seems intentional in a way. Like it in a way, art house films oftentimes seem like they're supposed to look more like a play than like an actual film, and a lot of this stuff gives that kind of vibe to me where it's like this really just looks like a set.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're definitely.
Go ahead,
Aaron.
I feel like the biggest thing is, I guess the intention. Like, they're not in it for the money. I mean, like, it'd be nice if they made some money and they know that there's going to be some, hipster-y kind of people who are going to be into it. But, like, they're not expecting this to be a blockbuster and they don't care. Like, they're making it for themselves or for the art of it all.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go with it, is that, like, I think that probably a hallmark of most, if not all of those films, is that they're going to really be about, like, either the very specific, like, idea that they want to explore or just, like, the art of making the film itself. And, like, yeah, it's not designed to be a crowd pleaser. Like, it's not designed to be something that's going to sell a bunch of copies or like sell out theaters necessarily.
And it's funny because we all love to kind of bitch about how we hate mainstream crowd pleasing films and we kind of prefer stuff that feels more authentic and has more taste. And then you watch something like this and you're like, oh, this is what that really looks like. And I do have respect for it from that perspective, but I'm also like, this is definitely not what I want to watch all the time, right?
Not all the time, but I mean, it also wouldn't be right to say that I didn't enjoy the movie. Like, It definitely had elements that were like, oh, that's weird or kind of uncomfortable, but it wasn't like an overall bad movie where it was like, I can't believe I wasted my time on that, like some of the movies we've watched, or just like sometimes movies you watch in general where you're like, oh, I should...
There were some parts where I was like, is this really worth my time? Like the ear guy dancing, I was like...
I like that. Like
how much...
Okay, but even... I think what's funny, though, is even with the ear guy, like, then Viggo's talking... Like, his Saul, his character, is talking about it, and he's like, yeah, it wasn't that great of an art project. I didn't think it was that great as performance art.
Well, he's saying it's really like... like she was saying, like, well, those ears are all fake, right? Like, this guy's kind of a faker.
It's too
in
performative.
A way. Yeah, right. And whereas Viggo's like the real deal, like his body is growing these organs. They actually even implicate a couple times in the film that he might be consciously or subconsciously doing it. I'm not really sure what the implications of that were, but
that was one of a couple of things that gets brought up, and then they just don't really do anything with it beyond mentioning it, and they just kind of leave it there as like we're just gonna float this out there a little bit.
Not only that, but they also mention how like that's part of his art is it's like he's like rebelling against his own body and like he doesn't want this to happen, whereas the other artists are like purposely, letting it go on or whatever, but he's like, no, I'm gonna cut it out of me. But yet he also is willing it to happen. I don't know.
I don't think so. I'm not sure what other like messaging the movie was trying to deliver, like bringing that statement into the discussion. But I think like I don't think he was. I think it was. I think it kind of comes back to this like accelerated evolution idea where like we as humans are reacting to our habitat. We're evolving to like fit our habitat, and our habitat is mostly synthetic now. And so like the evolutionary response is that our body's like, okay, well then we need to be able to eat this, right? And so the anomalies are the people like Viggo Mortensen, like the kid in the beginning, that are like their body is just like on this accelerated evolution for whatever reason, and they've kind of skipped ahead a few iterations to a body that can actually put up with that.
Well, because the thing that I think needs to be mentioned is that that should be brought up is like humanity has already, like, this is far enough in the future that humanity has already started to evolve again anyway, because people don't feel pain except for a few people sometimes when they sleep, and there's no such thing as infections anymore, which is why people can do surgery whenever, wherever, and it's not a big deal, or like mutilating their body because there's no risk of it going wrong. And they don't feel pain. And so like humanity has already started to evolve again in a new direction. But then this is a unique thing of certain people developing new organs, or I think it's just organs, not extra body parts, right? Like it's just organs. It's all internal, I think.
Yeah.
How about the guy with
but-
ears?
So.
Well, I know,
think
but
she
those
said
were
they were
added.
mostly fake, right?
So did he? So,
Yeah,
oh,
she
I
said
thought,
they weren't functional.
yeah, not functional, but that doesn't mean they, you know.
Oh, good
Yeah.
point. Good
Maybe,
point.
maybe. But he's the everyone else that it gets mentioned is all internal, and like the National Organ Registry, like it's not a national body part registry, it's an organ registry. So it kind of implies that it's mostly internal. Either way, I guess the point being, so like now you're getting some of these people that are starting to have that develop, and then the really accelerated one is the kid whose dad is part of that sect of people that underwent like a body modification surgery to be able to digest synthetic materials. But then his son, somehow that trait was passed on biologically or genetically, and his son was the first one that they know of that was born all natural, being able to process that stuff. And so, like, he's a massive leap forward versus people that are just starting to develop some different organs and things.
I think the kid is definitely a fluke. I don't think that anything was passed down genetically. I think he's one of the, and I could be wrong, this is my conjecture, I think he's one of the rare cases, like Viggo Mortensen's character, or Saul, right? Like Saul, he's one of the rare exceptions of this accelerated evolution, right? And I think it's more a coincidence that his dad was part of this cult, because Saul makes the point in the film. He's like, if I cut my finger off, my kids aren't born without fingers. Like, this isn't a genetic thing, right? So that's my assumption,
and I
is
guess,
that it was more of a phenomenon.
It's a coincidence that the dad was into this and also had a kid that happened to have this.
I could be wrong.
Exact mutation. Well, I would agree. I don't think that especially with the implication at the end that Viggo Mortensen's character also has developed this ability. I think that it's more just saying, like, this kid is just like you said, more of an anomaly. Like, he's kind of a leap forward a lot further, because I think what I took from it is kind of the implication that, like, these people that are starting to develop extra organs and things, it's steps towards this eventual end game of, like, being able to digest and process fully synthetic things instead of what we would think of as food right now. And that for everyone else, it's just like more what you would expect out of evolution. Like, it's incremental. Things happen in small ways where you're
things
like,
that are
what is
seemingly
the point of this?
irrelevant. Yeah.
Right. And that this kid was just, like, he just happened to be born with all of it already in place, unlike these other people that are like, oh, I developed one or two of the things that are eventually going to become, where it's like with those people, you would expect more like, okay, those people would then pass that on to their kids, who would then maybe pass that on to their kids, and a couple more generations down the line, maybe then you have a lot of people being born with all of the organs they need for that kind of digestion. And that this kid was, like you said, a fluke. but his dad sees him, I guess, as like he's proof.
The
He's
Messiah.
like a miracle. He's the promise of the future.
Yeah. It's almost like it's almost got X-Men vibes a little bit, right? Where like the X-Men are like they're mutants, right? Like but a lot of times in the X-Men films, it's talked about how like, well, are we mutants or are we just like the future of evolution, right? And you see the same kind of rejection from, most of humanity to these people that are kind of freaks, right? But it's like, are they freaks or are they just us in the future,
Well, something that kind of, like you were saying, a lot of this movie reminded you of Blade Runner, and I don't know if this is one of those things or if you're talking more about the aesthetic of the film.
Yeah, the aesthetic, because it's been a long time since I've seen Blade Runner, so.
Because something, like, yes, the aesthetic definitely was a big part of it for me that reminded me of it, but another thing was that it's mentioned a couple of times, there's a couple of different lines of dialogue from at least two different characters that implies that these people that are eating plastic and are developing in that way or trying to push humanity to develop in that way are not human. Like, they imply that you're evolving away from being human instead of just being the next step in human evolution. And to me, that kind of also gave Blade Runner vibes of like, well, what does it mean to be a human? Like, because I mean, at that point, it's like, well, how far back in in human evolution would you have to go to be like, okay, this isn't a human anymore as these things developed? Or you could look at an animal and be like, how far back do you have to go in like bird evolution to be like, well, this isn't a bird anymore. This is something else. And so it's interesting that, again, they don't do a lot with it. They just kind of, it gets thrown in there in a couple lines of dialogue and nobody ever really fully explores the idea. But it's interesting that it's like, there's people that are saying like, well, this makes you not a human anymore, or that you are trying to make humans not actually be human anymore because of this, which is an interesting thing because to me, I don't think you're at a full like ship of Theseus kind of like, oh, we've replaced everything. This isn't a human anymore. It's like, well, if they just have a different digestive system, how different is that from somebody who's born with like, just a birth defect or something, like, because there are like, obviously, you don't have to go into the future. Like, people are born with body parts that don't work correctly, or extra fingers or toes, or sometimes whatever, like a hole in their heart, things like that. It's like, so is that person not human because they don't have normal human, like all of the things we expect in a person? And in that case, like, if somebody has a different digestive system, like, does that make them not human anymore? Like, it kind of feels like a little bit of a stretch for the characters to be like, oh, that's not human, but it's an interesting point at the same time.
I can get them being afraid of the whole thing if, everybody around the world is starting to grow, organs that they don't know the function of. And Caprice in the beginning of the movie mentions that, what's his actual name? It's actually something kind of cool and spacey. You guys remember?
Wait, the priest?
No, Caprice.
No.
Oh, Caprice.
Yeah. Viggo Morrison. What's his name? Fuck.
Mortensen. His name in the movie is Saul Tenser.
Yeah, Saul Tenser. Badass. I forgot where I was going with that. I was too focused on the name.
You said that she was saying something.
Oh,
something
that his body was
said in the beginning of the film,
producing a new hormone. And I don't know if that meant like just a new hormone or, completely novel.
There were a couple things that were thrown in very quickly there when we first meet both of their characters that were kind of just like zipping past me. Like, I don't know anything that's going on yet, right? So I'm trying to like contextualize this without knowing anything that's going on, right? Like the bed thing and like the pain, and like he's in more pain because the bed needs a software update and the bed looks like an organic like being, and it's like there's a lot of stuff going on that you're taking in all at the same time.
Yeah,
so I don't know what she was talking about with the
Yeah, look.
Yeah,
You mean the breakfaster?
Yeah, the breakfaster. I liked a lot of the set pieces. I did not like the chair. Something about that, like, it felt a bit much. Because it looks like, I don't know. It wasn't believable. It's cry chopping your neck. I don't know what.
Right. It seems like it seems like a typical. To me, it almost seems like this capitalist corporation like capitalizing on people that are afraid and being like, oh yeah, here's this chair that like makes you digest better, and it's just like jostling you around while you eat, and you're like, this is good for me. You know.
See, to me, that one was less far-fetched because I was like, okay, but there's actual things like we know that, you know, like certain movements are good for digestion. So like theoretically, that one's less weird to me than a bed that is programmed and somehow you're hooked up to the bed and it is reading into your biometric signals to reduce your feelings of pain.
We have beds that almost kind of, I mean, they don't do that, but like they detect your body temperature and stuff like that, and like try to detect what point
like they have
in
an
sleep
actual
cycle
group.
you are in. Though I mean, like I'm just saying that's not that sci-fi. Like we're not hooking weird little suction cup things to our hands, but
the thing is, like to me, the breakfast chair thing seems a lot more far-fetched because a lot of people. A lot of people don't just sit and eat anymore, right? Like people are like, eating is something that you do oftentimes while you're doing other things, right? And like, whereas sleeping, like everyone lays down and sleeps, right? And so that's something that's like a static environment that everyone accepts and then can be more easily like manipulated. Whereas like this like breakfaster chair is like a much more niche thing that very few people would actually use, I think.
But apparently a lot of people in this world need. Speaking of like their like equipment though, the two ladies, I don't know, those characters were
the
trips.
technicians.
Yeah, and I don't quite know what their role in the story was because it just seems like they're technicians, but then they're also assassins.
Sure. Yeah, right. With drills.
Well, I know because then you hear from the federal agent at the end that he's like, yeah, I don't know who killed that guy.
Right.
And he's like that, you know, whoever did it, like they weren't commissioned by us. Like, so it's like, so these two women just took it upon themselves to murder him and the other guy.
Yeah, I feel like they're part of like the Illuminati,
surgeon?
like, you know, CIA intelligence kind of like.
I don't know if they're part of the
Big
plastic
Brother.
eating
They're
community.
Big Brother, arm of Big Brother kind of a thing, yeah.
The handyman of whoever's in charge.
Well, I don't know.
Why are they dealing with Caprice?
Well, they're dealing with her because they're technicians. They work on the machinery.
Are they?
Yeah, but are they?
But okay, but I think they are. Like
obviously-
they fixed the machine for her because they needed to. I don't remember what it's called, the Sark or something. They needed to transition it from
Get naked on it.
what they were using it from
that scene
to
was so-
transition it back to something they could actually use for autopsies again, which is what it was originally designed for, and it had been altered in the past. Obviously, they had the technical skills to alter it back and do a good job. So, like, they are technicians. I don't think
it's a coincidence,
but, like, yeah, do they serve another purpose?
They
like,
do.
You know?
They kill two, like, important people on the screen. I don't know who the guy in the breakfaster chair
right,
was,
I guess I meant, like, are they taking that upon themselves to do, or do they work for somebody? Because, like, I feel like, you know, if you want to go for like Big Brother, like who the man is in this, that's like the federal agent guy. Like he's the one that's spying on people and trying to get information and wants the plastic eating shut down and hired the person at Kristen Stewart's character, Tillman, at the organ registry to tattoo the organs so that people would think they were not something he'd been born with. Like he's the one that's pulling the strings behind the scenes and feels like he's the Big Brother kind of character. So the fact that these two women, it's like, well, they've committed 2 murders of him. Like it almost feels like they're just doing it of like their own initiative to be like, you know, serve their own agenda in some way, which I'm not exactly sure what that is, but they don't feel like they're part of like a larger government conspiracy, because like the government part of it feels like it's that agent guy that Saul keeps meeting with as like an informant.
Okay, so the detective guy, I feel like he's just a cop. Like, just, you know,
he's a federal cop, though.
Right?
He's I don't know.
Like, yeah, he's like a federal detective. I mean, to me, he was like the FBI. Like, I mean, they don't call it that. It's a new vice, whatever. But like,
listen, to me, he was guy in T-shirt number 2.
Yeah, who had some really woody acting. There's one point, oh man, he was making a weird noise, like he was. I don't know. It made everybody burst into laughter in my room. But okay, so Saul and Caprice, aren't they the ones that like popularized this whole performative art thing? Isn't that
I don't
implied
know
in
if
the
they
movie?
popularized it or if they're just like they're one of
They're
the
like
biggest
superstars
names
in this
in it.
They're
world.
celebrities. Yeah.
And so I think it's weird that, these technicians, of all the people they could have gotten, they got these two who also happen to be, going off and murdering people who, the people that they murder seem to have, it seems like the people that they're murdering are the people that the government wants gone. Also, I don't know if the federal agent has to tell Saul the truth about, I don't know who murdered them. He could have just said that. Maybe he does know.
Yeah.
Also, they're at the autopsy, the two technicians. Why the
Right.
hell are they at that?
Well, I was wondering, and again, I mean, it's so hard to know because we get so little information and there's zero backstory on these two, but they're clearly like enamored with that machine. Like, as soon as they realize they have one, they're like, whoa, this is incredible. Like, oh, this is such an honor that we even get to like see one in person. And then they get to work on it. They're like, wow. Like, and even Caprice makes a comment about, she's like, they love that thing. Like, I'm not worried about them, messing something up. Like they're
Right.
going to handle this with love. And it almost feels like the combination of like, yes, Saul and Caprice are kind of celebrities, but then also that they have this machinery that these two technicians really love. I wonder if they just kind of become like infatuated with kind of the whole like situation and what they're doing with their art, and they kind of are just like get sucked into it in that way, and then they feel like they can do something on their part to help, or like I don't know, like
I need a motive
it's almost
for
like,
them
like
killing the guy that the government really wants
The
not
guy.
alive.
Okay, I don't
Well,
know why the government wanted
him
that
not
guy dead.
alive.
I think so.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure why the government.
the black guy, the detective, he literally talks about like how he wants to get rid of all of them, not just their leader.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the plastic surgeon. Sorry,
other
yeah,
guy.
Yeah.
The plastic eater guy, he has a problem with them. Like, yes, I think he at least wants him behind bars, if not dead. But the plastic surgeon, they just wanted to know more about him. Like, the government wasn't being like, oh, we need that guy dead. They just wanted him, like, Saul to basically go and get information. And they didn't seem like they had a vendetta or, like, this is public enemy number one. Like, they seemed like he had a far bigger issue with the plastic eating community than with the plastic surgeon. Like, the plastic
This is such a
surgeon
weird
seems like he's
conversation.
kind of mainstream.
Yeah, I don't know about the plastic surgeon. The plastic surgeon. I'm more concerned with the conspiracy that's going on with like, yeah, the detective and
Yeah,
and
but they
he's
killed
got-
both of them, and that's confusing because they seem
So-
like they're people who are kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, on the one hand, maybe not opposite ends of the spectrum, but like they just seem totally disparate. Like, the plastic surgeon is just interested in like, oh, this body modification stuff is cool, and like this is the future and everything, and like, but he's not into the plastic eating that we're ever given any indication. Like, he just thinks the performance art stuff is really cool, and he wants to help Saul with that, and that's what he does. And he seems like he's almost more into that scene of like these people that are just like, yeah, fuck my face up or whatever, as like, self-expression or something. And then the plastic eaters are like an entirely different group that's like an underground movement that has to be really secretive, and they're like not interested in body modification as like an art or like an expression. They're like, no, we're trying to push humanity in a different direction. And I feel like the plastic surgeon and those guys are not connected in any way. So it's interesting that those are the two murders they commit, because they don't seem connected. Like, that there would be, if you were going to murder one, like, why would you have motivation to murder the other?
Well, this whole thing is like a seedy underworld, right? And the guy.
I don't know.
Oh, it's got that vibe for sure.
Okay, but we're never shown anything else about society. Like, we don't know. Like,
All
to
of
me,
sci-
this kind
all
of
of
felt
society
like this
has
is what
become a
society
CD
is.
The
underbelly.
most normal
Yeah.
person is
Right.
the federal agent who's like, I have a lump. Is this art?
Great scene.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, you should get that checked out.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
Don't quit your day job.
I don't the plastic surgeon character. I would need to go back and rewatch his like one scene that he gets with Saul. because I don't really remember what his MO is, but I think right after that scene where Saul gets the zipper installed, it seems kind of anti-art in a way. Like, it seems like when he meets with Caprice and he's like, well, it's functional. Like, it doesn't have to interfere with our performance art. But like, and I don't remember what the plastic surgeon's whole deal is, but it seems like it's maybe doesn't align with the ideals of somebody who's trying to make art, right? Function is typically the opposite of art. So
maybe, but I mean, he sells it to him as like, this will give you a window into like seeing what your body is doing, so you can check on what your body is growing, kind of like. Yeah. That's how the surgeon presents it to him.
The inner beauty pageant, which is a...
Yeah, and that too. So like, he does seem like he's kind of on board with the art thing. And then maybe more so the guy who's...
No, that's why he goes there, though.
But the surgeon signs him up for it. He's like, yeah, I think, like, also they want you to enter this. And then he doesn't find out that it's... I don't remember the guy's name. The guy that works with Kristen Stewart with the organ registration. Like, Timlin is Kristen Stewart's character. I don't remember the
Westak?
Westak.
I don't know. Whatever his name is, that guy, he doesn't find out that it's him until after he's already had the conversation with the plastic surgeon, who convinces him that, like, yeah, you should join the inner beauty pageant. So to me, it seems like the surgeon is pro the art movement, I guess, and he just wants to...
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're getting too caught up on it, but it's valid because I don't know why. I genuinely... Like, those two girls are, like, the most elusive characters in the whole film, in that we don't know who they are. We don't know why they're killing people. To me, it has to point to something more interesting than like two radical artists, you know?
Yeah, I feel that...
or art lovers.
I feel that the technicians had a pretty clear motive with the plastic eater. But with the plastic surgeon, I don't know. Doesn't Saul, though, before he goes to that meeting with the plastic surgeon, doesn't he think he's going there for a different purpose? Like, it's something about politics or something? And then he's
That's
like,
what the
what?
biologist tells him. She tells him, you have, like, he's like, this is for a medical consultation or for a medical problem or something. And she's like, no, it's for a political problem. Mm-hmm. And then he says that to the plastic surgeon. The plastic surgeon's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I want to help you with your art, essentially.
Right.
So,
and this is to help him with his art because of the inner beauty pageant, right? Which is illegal or legally dubious.
Well, that's the thing.
Under the table.
Exactly. That's what he was saying.
Okay, so to me, that's what's interesting about, like, the title of this movie, because as far as I can tell, none of this stuff is actually illegal. It's like the government's trying to figure out if they should make it illegal or not.
I think the title of the film is more of a nod to the crimes we're committing now and how they affect the future. Like the crimes that we're committing now, like how we treat the earth, these are crimes of the future because the long-term effect, like the people that it's actually affecting are people in the future, right? So you look at, like, the state of this world is awful. It looks like post-Fallout kind of a world, right? Like, everything's in disrepair, everything's grungy and dirty and disgusting, and people are eating plastic, right? And that's theoretically because of us now, right? So that's how I interpret the name of the film. It's probably a double entendre in some way, but...
Right, I guess my point being, though, that, like, the title tied in for me for that, but, like, really, it seems like kind of the vibe you get from the federal agent the whole time is that, like, the government is definitely keeping a close eye on this stuff, but it doesn't seem like any of it is actually illegal, or, like, there's any crimes actually being committed outside of, like, the murders that happen, but anything to do with the body modification, even the actual, like, eating of plastic is not a crime. Like, the government just has concerns about it for other reasons. Like, nobody's actually, like, committing crimes except for the mom who murders the kid and the two technicians murdering the plastic surgeon and the dad.
Which might be government sanctioned.
Like, yeah. And they might be, but I guess my point being that, like, nothing else in this, like, seems to be a crime. Like, there are things that are still being kept hush-hush, like the organ registry, but that's more because it's, like, it's about to become a federal, like, they haven't, like, it's like a soft launch of a new federal division or something, and they haven't, like, fully made it public yet, but it's not, again, like, they're not actually doing something illegal, they're just not supposed to publicize it yet, kind of thing. So, like, I don't know, there's some interesting, like, it's interesting that there's so much like the sense of like secrecy around things when a lot of it doesn't seem like it needs to be, because it's like I don't think anybody is really doing anything wrong, like other than murders.
Yeah. It all feels like it's happening on a pretty small scale too, right? And maybe that comes back to like the limited budget. Kind of feels like it's a theatrical release, or not a theatrical release, but like a something in a theater or a play almost. But like it all feels really zoomed in, right? Like we only have a few characters, we only have a few locations, we only deal with one person that's actually involved in the government in any way. Well, not really. I mean, he's a detective, but so it feels like we're getting a little bite of the world, and maybe we're just in this like very specific niche of people that are into this like self-mutilation kind of a thing, and that's why it's like kind of just being monitored, but like it's not really being taken seriously yet anyway. But we don't know what the rest of the world looks like, so
I don't know though, because then like the way that when the old guy at the organ registry, I cannot think of his name, when like the first time that they meet him, he talks about like desktop surgery as being like, yeah, it's he kind of makes it sound like it's everywhere, because like nobody has to worry about infection and there's no pain. So literally somebody could perform surgery anywhere, anytime, for any reason. And so it does kind of seem like in some ways it is a more widespread thing and not just this niche. Like maybe some of the art stuff is more niche, but it does seem like outside of performance art, maybe that like some of this stuff is not uncommon. Or
Well, the plastic eater literally says like we have sex like all over the world. SECT sex all over the world. So
right.
yeah, and the government's making like a whole new, division or whatever.
right, for the organ registry.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't, like, I guess it's small scale in that there's not, like you said, there's not a lot of important characters. There's just a few, and we only go to a couple locations. But it doesn't feel small scale in, like, the world. Like, I think that it is supposed to be a lot of this. Maybe not all of it, but it seems like a decent chunk of it is supposed to be happening on a more widespread basis.
Yeah, we only have like a narrow window into the circumstances.
I mean, it really focuses on Saul and Caprice as characters and their relationship, right? So we are existing in their world and the people that they interact with. There's very few scenes that one or both of them is not in. So, or scenes that you think they're not in, and then the camera pans and Saul's crouching in the corner with the Saul crouch and with his ninja garb on. I don't know what the dialogue choices, or not dialogue, the wardrobe choices for this were very interesting. For the most part, it was people wearing like 2000s like sweatpants and like spaghetti strap tops, and then there were a couple cool outfits, and then there was just like Saul's getup that really I did not understand. Like he walks everywhere with a mask and like these like flowy black, I don't even know.
Always grunting.
I guess I wondered if it's maybe like partly because he's a celebrity and he doesn't want to be recognized everywhere he goes. I feel like that's why he covers his face. Because everybody who meets him is like, whoa, you're Saul Tenser. Like, this is such an honor. Like, everyone knows who he is. So I feel like it's probably like the equivalent of being like, pick any major A-list Hollywood star now. Like, a lot of times they go places with sunglasses and covering their like hoodies and things like that, because it's like they don't want people to just be immediately like, oh, it's so-and-so. But I also wondered if part of it is just like, I don't know, leaning into artists can be a little eccentric sometimes, and maybe some of it is just like his personal style choices.
I feel like it's a mix of both.
He's heavily into the art scene, and so he's
I was
like, whatever,
also,
like...
I was also thinking, part of me was wondering if it was like maybe reflecting some kind of insecurity, like not being comfortable in his own body, because like there's this idea that he's like rejecting who he is right? Like that's like it's his art stems out of rebellion for who he is, right? So in some ways I kind of see like him wearing these like kind of goth looking clothes that cover him in shroud almost as this like insecurity, reflecting his insecurity as a character and how he views himself, kind of like not being comfortable with who he is.
Yeah, that's a fair
I
point.
feel like he thinks he just looks cool. Like if it was acceptable,
Kind of
I would
does,
do the
but
same
like
thing. He looks badass.
that's the thing. It's like the awkward kid that wears it to school and you're like everyone secretly deep down is like kind of badass, but you look so weird
Yeah.
because nobody
Yeah.
else is doing it.
I wish I could do
You
that, but I'm
weirdo.
not going
Let's
to.
bully him.
Trench coats? Come on.
At what point in the film somebody asks him something about like, and he makes a comment, he just says like, oh, I get cold a lot, or
Yeah,
whatever,
the plastic
and, like, that's his
surgeon
only
is like,
explanation.
let me take your coat. And he's like, nah.
Yeah, and that's the only reference we really, or like at least him referencing it, like it's just
Well, he's
like, "Oh, I'm just
obviously
cold."
he obviously has health issues, but I think maybe the very last scene in the film is implying that these health issues stem from the fact that like he's not being properly nourished because he's not eating the food that his body wants, right?
And because he's rejecting the evolution
literally
of his
taking
body.
all the organs
like,
out of his
he
body.
keeps cutting everything out and being like, no, I don't want this, which is an interesting because like it's reiterated a couple times by both Caprice and him that like he removes them because he thinks long term they will harm him. And it's interesting that then the kind of the coming full circle on that is like, actually, it seems like you've been harming yourself by not allowing these things to grow and develop. Like your body is creating these for a reason. And if you embrace it instead of removing them, then your life will actually get easier as opposed to being as difficult and as, uncomfortable as it is right now because you continue to rip these things out of yourself when your body is doing it for a reason.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like some sort of metaphor there, or some themes to pick apart. I really wish I had more time to. Well, so what you guys watch it on? Did you rent it?
Also on Amazon.
I think it was on HBO Max, but I actually ended up getting it from the library because Anna and I were there, and I was like, I wonder if they have it, and they did. So I
Oh, of
just
course they did.
grabbed
Oh,
it
that's
from the
nice.
library.
I ended up renting it for 48 hours, and that's just too small a window to want to watch it again. Like, I definitely want to watch it again.
Yeah, right.
If we were like on a monthly schedule, I could have watched it like a week apart. But I was like, I'm not gonna. I'll watch a recap on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I feel like
Yeah,
there's a lot of
it's
meat.
kind of.
I want to. Okay, well, I'll let Nate say what he's going to say.
Oh no, I was just gonna kind of give a general, non-specific statement about how it's kind of compelling. But go ahead.
I was going to say, I kind of want to come back to the, like, what we kind of started the discussion with of the, at least the government and some people feeling, like really strongly opposed to people changing their digestive system, eating synthetic foods. And it feels interesting to me that, like, there's such a strong, again, like, in this world, like, I think it makes more sense if you look at it from, like, where we're at, because obviously, like, we haven't had the evolution that they've had. Like, clearly this is at this point, humans, again, they've developed, like, there is no pain, there's no infection. Like, they've already started to evolve anyway, so, like, they're not the humans that exist today. So the fact that there's such a strong rejection of people growing new organs and possibly developing a different digestive system seems odd, because it's like, if that's where human evolution is going, then eventually everybody's going to get there anyway, and like that will just be the norm. And so it's weird because, like, unlike the X-Men thing where it's like, well, it's all different things and they're kind of all over the board, and like there's no there's no constants, and like who knows what your mutation will be. It seems like all of this is kind of pointing in the direction of, like, this is where human evolution is going, is just to change to be able to consume the synthetic waste so that the world is a more livable place. And if that's the case, then it's like, well, if that's kind of where all of this is headed, then eventually all of humanity would get there anyway, if that's what's happening with evolution. And so to be that mad about, or like maybe not mad, but that opposed to that one, when like, okay, you're already living with multiple evolutions within your own body already that have happened that are not what humans of the past had, then why are you so opposed to this evolution that again just seems to be something that is like one like a step in preserving humanity?
Because it hasn't actually been evolution yet, right? Like the only thing people really know, like as far as like the natural, like the natural enigmas that are like the little kid and Saul, like nobody knows that like people naturally exist that can do this. It's just been the people that are like doing it to themselves, right? So that's not evolution. That's just people, like it's almost like cyborgs, right? It's like people are doing this to themselves.
I feel like the government
But it seems
knows.
like there are quite a few people that are developing these new organs, because that's why there's a whole new division of the government being created to register the organs. Like if it was just Saul and this kid, I don't think that would warrant the development of a whole government division. Again, that's why this feels like it's a pretty widespread thing. Like this is becoming more and more common to the point where the government's like, okay, we actually feel like we need to catalog this. If it was just 2 or 3 people, like you would just wouldn't you just grab those people and monitor them? Like why would you need a whole division? So it seems like it's pretty widespread. And like obviously these people are not so far removed from the humanity of today that they don't remember that there was ever a time when humanity got infections or felt pain. Like they know that those are things that have evolved and changed. So why are they so like resistant to this one and acting like, oh, this makes us not human? It's like, well, couldn't you say, even somebody makes a comment about like pain serves a function and we've lost that. So like pain.
That's what I was going to say. Maybe they consider what happened to them, losing infections and pain, to be a bad thing, and they're like, all right, we need to be in control of where this ship is being steered, because we were not a big fan of that change. And I mean, I'm curious to know what happened to the world. If, the loss of pain and infection is a, side effect of whatever happened to the world, or if that is what led to the dystopian society that we're watching on screen. Like, so yeah, like,
I feel like something that breaks down for me is that the world that we're seeing still looks very looks very there's a lot of relics of now there, right? Like there's a lot of stuff we see that just looks like now, maybe 50 years, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that it doesn't look future-y, right? But yeah, human bodies have evolved so much that we don't have pain and we resist all infections. Like those are insanely dramatic evolutions that would happen probably over, millennia, So like that's a really weird thing to me. So like maybe there was some sort of inciting event that had like a really dramatic effect on humans where it was like evolve or die kind of a thing.
Maybe, but they give you zero context for it, because at no point does anyone ever reference anything that feels like, oh, there was a catastrophic event or something that dramatically
other than
altered.
The fact that there's a lot of everything's in disrepair. So there must have been something, like there's a lot of ships that are just like half keel, like laying around. Like everything is dirty, everything is dingy, everything is in complete disrepair. It's like obviously something happened, right?
Yeah. Right, but I'm saying like I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's just that, or like you said, if it's more just being like, we did such a bad job taking care of the planet that this is where things are at now, that people just don't care anymore because it's all so gross and messed up, or if it's supposed to imply like something catastrophic or like earth-shattering, kind of like dramatically altered humanity's timeline kind of thing event. But nobody references anything like that. Like there's zero context given to it. So I mean, like, yeah, it does kind of make it feel odd that it's like, well, these all feel kind of recognizable, like all of this stuff.
Well,
in the world.
How often do you talk about, the age of computers, and how much that's changed us? Like, how often does that fall into daily conversation, or, the American Revolution, or anything? The Epstein files, like, that one might be a little bit more common right now, but these are big things that have happened, and it's not like we're living in it. Like we just accept it as part of, yeah, that happened.
Well, sure, but I guess because it's a story that's being told, and obviously this isn't a lived
Art
experience for all of
house.
us. Like, you know, a lot of times in a movie that's gonna have some kind of like, humanity was progressing like normal, and then this thing happened, and now all of a sudden we have to deal with the ramifications. Like, usually they give you
I
something.
think it's safe to
Like,
say that this is an unusual movie.
Yeah. Usually, no.
Yeah, no. This is
You're
our
right.
house.
You're right. My bad.
Unusually.
My bad. I should have just throw all expectations out the window. We're lucky we got any dialogue at all.
Yeah, any sort of like coherency,
Well,
to
it's
Any
the
explanations.
story. Like, what was your?
That's actually
I'm about to lead to
that
a
was an
different thing.
issue. Okay, well, I kind of am too. Like, an issue that I kind of had with this film is it feels like there's a lot of expository dialogue, which I didn't really like. Like, there was a lot when Saul and Caprice first go and meet Tillman and Whippet. Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
I got all their names.
Whip it.
When they first go to meet them, there's like a whole scene where it's just like, here's the scene where we explain everything that's going on, kind of, and it just felt like we were cramming exposition down my throat. And there were a couple other scenes like that. So I did not love the dialogue in this in general. It either
Which is
felt
an interesting-
too like obscure or way too like, here's what's going on.
I feel like that's the interesting juxtaposition, is that you've got heavily expository sections and then stuff that is left so wide open that you're like, okay, like you're just gonna bring up this concept that has a lot to unpack, and then we're just getting 2 lines of dialogue about it, and then the rest is just like, see if you can figure out how it fits into what we wrote.
So I like exposition if it's done well, and to me, done well is, does this character know what's going on, and that's why they're being explained to about what's going on.
Right.
And so maybe I just didn't notice it, because normally I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be spoon-fed this shit. Like, let me figure it out for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, figure out a way to do it naturally, because it feels lazy otherwise. So yeah, maybe I didn't notice any really, obvious exposition, but like, that's because I think I needed as much as I could get, because I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Where were you
Okay.
going earlier?
yeah. Like, what was your guys' least favorite scenes? Anything that stuck out to you? I know mine.
Yeah, anything with Kristen Stewart.
She
Man,
played herself.
Can we all just agree that she's a bad actress?
What do you mean? It felt like the director, David, whatever, like asked her to be herself or something like that, because she just played like.
She is one of those actresses that she only has one gear. Like, she plays the same character in every.
I saw
Her-
a movie that
Her line
she-
delivery was the worst out of everyone in this film, easily.
The detective.
Hers was
Yeah,
worse.
really.
I think so.
The detective was really bad too.
I felt like they just grabbed him off the street and was like, "Hey, want to be a movie star?"
I love it. He walks in and he's like, they walk in and he's like, they're like, oh, it's the detective, and it's just a dude in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's just like, it feels
Give him
like
a badge
something
or
that somebody
something.
made on a Saturday that they didn't have anything else to do, and they're just like, oh, let's make like an interrogation scene. You be a detective here. Put this blue shirt on.
Yeah. I do feel like his acting got better, like, as the movie went on, but then it would also like randomly get bad again. I don't know if that's because you're not shooting the scenes in order or whatever,
Right.
but
And what? He was learning how to act over the course
that's
of
what
the
it
film.
felt like. Some stuff was like way too much acting. Some stuff was like, you were the most wooden person I've ever heard speak English.
I was more bothered by Kristen Stewart. He gets more of a pass in my book, because like none of his scenes stuck out to me as like, oh, that was awful. Like, hers though, I felt like every time she was on screen, I was like, oh, and I was just like bracing myself. She makes me very uncomfortable.
And maybe that's the point again of her character, like the scene with her and Saul where she's like kind of like following him around the room slowly as they talk, right? Like she's just really makes you really uncomfortable.
Even the first scene though, when like, I mean, again, I think some of it is obviously part of how they wrote the character, which comes back to like what I mentioned initially of like, there's so much weird eroticism in this movie where like when she's like looking at the organ when they first go there and she's all acting like I mean, like the facial expression you're getting and stuff is like she's really turned on by
everybody
it,
in the room is being real weird.
But her especially.
Yeah.
I mean, like it makes like I get it with like his partner. Like for them, like this is an intimate, like this is kind of the foundation of their relationship. So it's like, okay, I expect her to like have a reaction, I guess, that's more sensual. But Kristen Stewart, it was like, why are you so... like...
That makes me think, Aaron, you said what's our least favorite scene?
Yeah.
Probably, just because it was so stupid, the scene where they both get on the table, like he accidentally cuts her, and then she's like, oh, it kind of turns me on, and he's like, all right, I'll get on there with you, and let's both be self-mutilated together by this autopsy machine. Like, they're both just laying there naked, like getting...
Right, they're not even having sex. They're just letting the machine cut them randomly.
Well, they're just sitting there. It's like post-sex, and they're just laying there still being cut.
That's new sex, isn't it? Like, because he kisses... That
leads into my...
Go ahead.
Okay, because, like, I genuinely, and I know, like, you're probably not supposed to think about it this much, but, like, it kept bothering me.
Yes, you are. It's art house, Karina.
It bothered me. I was like, how is there any kind of, like, because every time somebody's, like, getting mutilated or has, like, their injuries touched or whatever, they act like it's, like, that they're being, like, sexually stimulated. Like, you know, like somebody... like it's a turn on, like this is gonna like lead to sex or something. And I have genuine questions about how that even makes sense, because like you don't feel pain, so there's not like a, what would that be, like a masochism of like of like, oh,
there's no
I like
nervous
that this hurts.
system response.
There's no nervous response, and obviously the rest of your body is not wired for like sex. Like it's not like if I have a hole in my arm, like I'm not gonna get the same response there that I would from having sex. Like you don't have those kind of nerves there. So I'm like, genuinely, I don't know how people are so turned on by this all the time. Like when she's giving him like a blowjob, but it's not a blowjob because it's the zipper. It's like, and he's acting like he's getting a blowjob, but I'm like, I don't understand how this is a turn
but you
on
feel
or
pain.
Enjoyable or evoking
no, but
any
he feels
sensation.
pain. He feels pain. So that's
different kind though.
He only feels pain when he
sleeps.
Exactly.
It's a weird, different kind of thing. Yeah, when he's like dreaming.
He can only feel it when he sleeps. So when he's awake, he's not feeling pain from that.
And Caprice, it's like
she's
such
just licking a wound,
right?
and I'm like, it shouldn't evoke anything if you can't feel pain. Like I guess there would be a sensation of like you would. I mean, obviously, I don't think that there's no feeling at all. But I don't think it would be sexy. I don't think you'd be like, yeah, I'm about to have an orgasm from this. Like, but he's acting like it's a blowjob or something. And like, genuinely, all of the sex components of the injuries make no sense to me. Because I'm like, how?
All right.
If there's no pain, what are people feeling? Like, it kind of,
Aaron with
that was
hot
like,
take.
Hot take.
Inbound.
Fetishes.
Everyone has the same fetish now?
I mean, like, we already have some pretty normal fetishes, like, or whatever, like sexual preferences, you know, in society today.
A preference isn't a fetish, though. A preference is not a fetish.
Not all preferences, but all fetishes are preferences.
Yeah. But why are... I don't know.
And so these people are so different from us already. Like you said, they're not, you know, human like we are. They don't feel pain. Who's to say that, you know, for some reason this isn't, you know, exciting to them? I don't know. People get turned on by food, like feet.
Right, so like,
but all of that stuff usually leads to like normal sex most of the time, and it's like a component. Like,
because we have, right.
my point being, like, because there's a couple comments in there about like old sex where he's like, I'm not good at old sex or whatever, and like it doesn't seem like he and Caprice actually had sex. It seems like he just climbed on the table and they both just laid there and got cut by the machine. Like it doesn't seem like there was an actual act of like sex as we know it. So again, that's what's different to me is it's one thing if it's like a fetish or something that leads to the act.
Okay, so maybe the act
doing things that we would consider traditional sex. But if there's none of that, it seems odd that all of these people would have the same, like, yeah, sure, maybe there's like one or two people, but how, like, will all these people have the exact same fetish that doesn't lead to anything
That
else?
we know
They
of.
just
It just
like,
doesn't happen on screen because you didn't, want to push boundaries.
Again,
don't
it
know.
could be that we're like just seeing a little niche, right? And so we're seeing all the people that are into this world of like self mutilation and whatnot, and for a lot of them, it's a turn on too. But also like something
see
being a
it a
turn
couple
on is
times
like
in
it's
just,
a
like,
chemical thing in your brain, right? Like your brain is like responding to those nervous signals. So like your brain can respond the same way to something else. To
Yeah, what
like
if
you can be turned on from like a just seeing things, right? So it's it's
yeah,
comparable.
I guess what made it feel less like, oh, this is just a niche, because, like, I guess it would be different if we only ever saw it from people that are, like, attending the performance art shows, where it's like, okay, clearly these are people
It's
that
just
are
like an
seeking
orgy,
this.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like an orgy. It's like these people all get together for the express purpose of this because it's a turn on. But, like, multiple times we see people just, like, in the alleyway, like, cutting on each other and acting like it's sexy. And, like, these are not people that are then shown at, like, oh, these people also attend these things. Like, they're just hanging out outside, like, randomly on the street, like, cutting each other and acting like they're about to get it on. And, like, you see that a couple of times, and it's like, one of them is, it's like it's the dad. When Saul walks by, he's like carving a girl's leg and she's like super into it, and they're acting like it's like a sexual thing. But like, that dad is never shown as being like into that as like
Maybe
a
just
weird
because
fetish,
it's
or
like
that he goes to performance art or anything like that. So
maybe it's just like the idea that it's something that's forbidden and provocative and like rebellious and edgy and like all of this stuff, right? It all kind of goes along with that. And so
maybe.
yeah.
I guess I'm just saying, all in all, mostly what that did for me was harm my suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, that one.
Because it would happen, and I'd be like
Not the bed.
I would just be rolling my eyes, and I'd be like, this isn't sexy. Like, this seems so dumb that anybody is like into this, because it seems like there would just be no sensation whatsoever, really.
Yeah, well, just call me when you've evolved, Karina. So
Yeah.
I will.
Okay, so one thing that really bothered me, like, I don't know, I know it's art house, and I was able to, like, forgive a lot of scenes, or look at a lot of scenes, the whole movie, through that lens, until they do the autopsy. Because you're told that, like, this whole cutting thing is, like, it's a sexy, intimate, erotic thing that they do, and now we have a naked little boy on a table getting sliced and diced. For one,
listen,
you couldn't have put
don't
underwear
be,
on the kid or something, like.
Don't be underage. Don't be underage shaming. We don't know the future.
Yeah. Well, they're all Epstein's. Yeah, so that.
Yeah, it's an interesting point but also like nothing about that film, nothing about that scene, nothing seems to be sexualized. Like nobody seems to be reacting to it in that way.
That's
at
what
all,
I was saying. Yeah, it seems much more like this is art, pure and simple.
Yeah.
Again,
Which
you could have done
is
that.
why, like,
You're still dissecting a kid, a dead kid. Couldn't that just be art? Why does he have to be naked? Like, from a filmmaker's perspective, can't you just put like a wrap around him? Like, just cover that, put a leaf.
or just not show, like, film from a different angle. Like, you can imply that he's
like,
naked
stuff
and just not
in the
ever
way.
show
They
the
do
full.
this thing all the time.
Yeah. Right, that's pretty normal.
Not in art house films, they don't.
I guess not. They're like, yeah, little volcanoes.
I mean, they were
In
pretty
art house
careful not
films,
to show,
only the children hang dong.
yeah, for real.
They did not show, like, Vigo's, when he was naked. They didn't show him. It's like, you could have done
you
the
gotta
same
watch.
with a kid.
You gotta watch Captain Fantastic if you want to see Vigo's dong.
I mean,
Worth
this
it, by
one
the way.
specifically.
What? I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, no, Captain Fantastic is another Viggo Mortensen film where he hangs dong, and it's pretty funny.
Is that the one with the sex scene on the stairs, too? Or is that a different movie?
No, isn't that Eastern Promises? No, I'm not sure. That's not. I don't think
Nah,
that's Captain Fantastic.
Eastern Promises does not have a sex
Captain
scene on the
Fantastic.
stairs.
Is that the one where he's a dad?
Which one? Captain Fantastic is where he's a dad and he's got like 5 kids and they all live in a bus.
Yeah.
It's actually
I
a
need to
really
watch
freaking
it. Yeah,
good movie.
yeah.
It's really,
I've
really
seen
good.
clips.
Yeah. I do. Last thing that I have written here that just makes me question, like, why do we feel the constant need to just, like, if there's no furniture, we have to crouch. Like, everybody just be crouching all over this movie. Mostly Saul. But also there's, like, a couple scenes with the detective where the detective is, like, standing and then he just starts crouching. It's just like, why are we crouching?
I'm gonna
just sit.
You know what? Maybe it's part of the evolution.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe it is. If anybody would be an early adopter, it'd be Saul Tenser.
Facts. I will say, well, the thing that made me, like, something that made me laugh so, like, probably harder than it should have, was that in the credits, when they had, and I'm sure that they do this probably on far more movies than I realize, but it seems so absurd for this one, that, like, the little disclaimer that's like, you know, this is a work of fiction. Anything that is related to people living or dead is completely unintentional and is not, you know, it's a coincidence. And I was like, are you like, like,
but
okay.
also that, but also, like, the message at the beginning of the film, which is that, like, the views expressed in this film do not necessarily reflect the views of, like, neon film production studios. It's like, yeah, damn right.
I hope so. I mean, I guess if any of them were involved with Epstein, though, like, maybe it wouldn't be so
called into question.
That's why they're like, we gotta put this out there. You don't get to know about our personal lives.
So, for me, I think this is probably coming in at, I'm going to go with 6.5. Kind of waffling between 6 and 7 just because there's a lot of stuff I like. I like the world. I like the idea of the world, if not necessarily the world visually. It kind of feels like reminds me of back when I played Deus Ex, like the original game Deus Ex, where it's just like everything is just gross.
Yeah.
You're participating in the world and you're like, this is a world I never want to live in because everything is dirty all the time. And maybe that comes from
infections.
I was just going to say, maybe that comes from, like, no infections, so why bother cleaning anything? But you still want stuff to work. It's like that. You don't just let everything be dilapidated.
But the technology does seem to work. Like, there's a lot of pretty advanced technology, it seems like.
There is, but then, like, the kitchens, like, all the, like, cooking material looks old, and all the...
There's a weird blend of, like her camera on her Ring looks very old. And, like, when the people are filming the art projects, that all the cameras look very, like, 90s. But then on the flip side, it's like, okay, and it's referenced that, like, these are not new products, like the bed, the breakfast chair, the autopsy machine. Like, these are, like, the autopsy machine is so old they don't produce them anymore. Yeah. Like, these are, but they're pretty advanced pieces of machinery, and they're not uncommon. So clearly technology does work. It's just interesting, like, kind of like, what is humanity focused on? And maybe some of that is because, like, if you can't get infections, you're not super worried about how clean or, like, nice your dishes are or your bathroom and some of that stuff, because it's like, the germs aren't going to hurt me. Yeah. Like, I don't have to worry about it. I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to, you know, get infected if I cut myself on a, you know, like, something random. Like, so maybe humanity has just invested in, like, their time and effort into other technology that matters more for the, I don't know.
But anyways, I didn't love a lot of the dialogue, both delivery and being a bit too expository at times. And yeah, it's like the whole world's just kind of dirty. It's not something I want to revisit a whole lot because I just feel, like, icky while watching it, you know? It doesn't elicit a lot of, like, happy feelings, no. I guess I could say. But that being said, the world is pretty compelling, and the different things that we're dealing with in the film are pretty interesting. And so I enjoyed watching it, but I don't see myself watching it again. So, yeah.
Wait, so what do you guys think of the end of the movie, though?
I mean, I like that they didn't spell it out. I appreciate that you get to kind of interpret it.
What do you mean?
And then
I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I was going to say, he could eat plastic.
Well, I guess.
Yeah.
Like now he knows
about it.
Well, I guess I mean more that, like, how it connects to the rest of the film. Like, with him, you know, the whole film he's been talking about, like, he's cutting these things out because he thinks that it's harmful. He doesn't want to let them go. He's rebelling against his own body. And so I like that then they show he can eat the plastic and then they just leave it at that and kind of leave it for you to go back and be like, oh, so maybe he should be letting his body evolve. Maybe he should, like it reframes then how you view some of his decisions and like the statements he's made leading up to that point, because he's opposed to it. And now you're like, oh, well, I guess maybe he should, like this is the next step maybe in human evolution and that this serves a purpose.
Right,
so,
but like specifically
without them having
the way that he eats it and then like he smiles and it's so profound, whatever he's experiencing, that like I feel like it's the most obvious bit of emotion that's shown on screen other than like sexual stuff or just general like like I feel like Caprice shows quite a bit of emotion, but it's mostly like
She's
curiosity
pretty
stuff.
animated.
Whereas this, like, Saul is experiencing something so profound that he's like literally crying tears of what I assume are joy. Like, I feel like there's something to it. I don't know.
Well, I think there's this kind of like
Slow zoom in.
this like we don't know how long, maybe his whole life, that he's been dealing with like eating is not just a chore, but it's like it's painful and it's almost impossible, and like so much about his existence, and this is probably why he's an artist, so much about his existence is suffering. And so like this one moment he's like, oh, this changes everything about my life now that I actually know who and what I am, right?
And yeah, like I kind of, yeah, I think I interpreted it as a combination of like he understands why his body is doing what it's doing now, and also probably just relief, because it's like you're shown throughout the movie how miserable he is trying to eat every time. Sometimes he can't even get his throat to open, he says, in order to consume food. And it's like, so
Yeah, he looks like mildly annoyed more than anything. Like he even says like it's interesting the feeling that's going on inside of my throat.
well, because he doesn't experience pain, so it's not going to be the same as like maybe we would expect it to be. But I'm just saying, but like even if there's no pain, I'm sure he doesn't feel great, just like weakness and stuff, because like obviously you need to eat to fuel your body so that you have energy to do
I feel like
things.
these people don't feel
So
anything, and that's
I don't know if they don't feel anything.
no. But I mean, like
they must feel
they,
something.
it feels like that's something that they really want to do is feel something. Like Caprice asking about the dream and the feeling of pain. Like it feels like everybody is in search
Yeah.
of like some sort of feeling, whether it's pain.
But I wonder
or,
if that goes back to the comment about like pain is a really important part of human existence, and so if you remove that, then people feel like there's a gap.
I think so.
I
Yeah.
don't
It's
know.
kind of funny because that already makes people not human then, right? If you're saying that pain's a large portion of human existence and we don't have that anymore, then it's kind of like hypocritical for them to be going, well, eating plastic makes you not human, right? Where it's like, well, you
That's
already
what I
aren't.
was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. Yeah.
Or I wouldn't even go to the extent of saying like, well, you're not human, because again, like if that's how the entire human race evolved, like this isn't just a few people
Yeah.
that didn't become caught on. I think like again, like I don't think you can say like they're not human. Like this is just where humanity evolved to. But yes, I agree. That was my point of like it's weird for them to be against the plastic thing when it's like clearly you've already had some really dramatic shifts in what humanity is compared to like what it is for us right now. But
Yeah, and I don't know if
yeah.
I don't know if there's anything to it, but I feel like it's kind of weird how they don't feel pain anymore, and now like things that obviously like we as humans we try to steer clear of, like being cut and dissected and all that kind of stuff, that has been woven into something that we as humans we really really want, which is like to reproduce or to to get off, as it were. And yeah, now we have the final scene where he experiences, some form of joy, which seems like, I don't know, I feel like eating is a pretty primitive thing, pretty low down in the reptilian part of our brains. Like all things need to eat, and he gets to eat, and he's happy for once, and it's like a, I don't know, innocent happy. I don't know what to call it, but like something you can be like guilt free of, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like there's no fetish to it. It's not, it's nothing weird. Just he takes a bite and he's like,
Other than that, it's plastic.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it might be a dumb comparison, but it did make me think of like if you've ever had, like strep throat or like mono or something like that, where you're like the relief when you finally get past that and you can just like drink water or normal things again, which like, again, obviously we feel pain, but just to feel like everything's functioning normally, of like my body's not trying to stop this or like do anything to get in the way of it, is kind of what it made me think of like just again, like that sense of relief to be like, everything is right now.
Yeah, I was literally going to bring that up next. Like, you take, what's the term? Like, not take advantage. You take it for granted. Yeah, like just how it being normal feels, and then when that's stripped away of you, and like doing normal things hurts, and then that goes away again. You're like, oh my god, that's.
Or just doesn't feel normal, even if it's not pain. Like he can't feel pain, but like if his throat is literally restricting to the point where he cannot swallow food, it's probably still unpleasant, even if it isn't painful. It's probably like clearly it shows that he's very frustrated by it. And so regardless of what the reasoning behind that is, because obviously it's not pain the way that we would experience that, like, yeah, it's just the like, this isn't normal. Like this is not a part of what human evolution is. People should still be able to eat. They should still be able to, like, again, like you said, it's a very base, like survival bodily function consuming food.
And it's kind of funny because like it's his body telling him like that's not what we want. Like it's his body reacting to the environment and saying we see the direction things are heading, so we are adapting, and stop putting organic material into us because that's not what we want, right? That's not the future.
Which is funny because like, I mean, it doesn't happen so much with like the actual act of eating, but it's kind of like, I don't know, unless you eat a lot of it and you choose to be very unhealthy, like I feel it's similar to like if I eat fast food, I'm miserable usually for like days afterwards, because it's like I don't eat bad things like that. And so if I eat, like from a fast food restaurant, it's like I just feel like my body doesn't even digest it. Like it feels like it just sits there in my stomach for like days sometimes, and that my body doesn't know what to do with it, because it's probably because so much of it isn't real food and like it is synthetic to some degree. And then it's like kind of, I guess, the inverse of this, of like my body being like, this is not something you are supposed to consume. Like we do not know what to do with this. And it's uncomfortable and unpleasant. And it feels like, it's kind of like, yeah, your body's sending you a message like, hey buddy, don't do this. This is not what we're designed to handle. So it's kind of like the opposite of that, of like now the, I guess, synthetic stuff is so rampant, and that it's like the same idea of like, hey, you need to adjust how you're eating because we can't handle this anymore. This isn't what we're equipped for any longer.
Ratings from you guys?
I feel like I would give it a 7.5. I'm going to go higher than you. Partly because I was, I don't think I was quite as bothered by some of the dialogue stuff as you were. Also because while I'm not in a hurry to rewatch this movie, I do agree with Aaron. Like, I think a second watch will be rewarding. I think there will be things I pick up on that, just make the world more interesting, or just kind of, maybe add some clarity to some of the stuff that's left really, really vague. I feel like there's probably some other stuff in there when you're not quite so like, whoa, about some of the body horror and whatever. And I feel like it's a movie I would recommend to people who I knew could handle it. Like, probably not like a broad
not
recommend.
a blanket recommendation.
Yeah.
But I think it was I think it's an interesting enough concept and world, and it's a unique enough take on something that it would be like, yeah, people should watch it. I think that they would get something out of it. And so, for all of that. And I think that, like, I really like Viggo Mortensen. I think he turns in a really good performance. I think Lea Seydoux' performance is good. Don't like Kristen Stewart as an actress. I don't think she's great. She definitely brings it down quite a bit, but thankfully she's not in a ton of it. So, but aside from her, nobody like really bothered me, or stood out as being like tremendously bad. So, all in all, like I thought it was an interesting world. I liked the music. It was like the music was interesting and kind of ominous and different and evocative.
Howard Shore.
I know. So I really liked that aspect of it, and is again interesting concept and all that. So a 7.5, I think, for me.
I feel like giving it a rating right now for me would just kind of be unfair or not, completely accurate. Because I feel like unlike all the other movies we've ever done, it's one that I think I need to watch a second time to really get everything from it, and I don't want to watch it because I want other people to watch it. Or I wouldn't want other people in the room with me watching it, because the whole time, like, we were too busy, being like, we would look at each other and be like, "What the hell are we watching? Like, this is crazy." Like it was almost silly, and I couldn't take it as serious as I wanted to. Um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of meat in this one, that if you're willing to do the work and do a little bit of thinking, I don't think this is like a movie for a second screener. That's what I'm going to refer to people who need a cell phone or something. I think you have to actually put a little work into it to really enjoy it to its fullest extent. And at some point I'm probably going to do that, but not anytime soon, because I had to spend $4 on it and I only get 48 hours. I don't know. So as it is right now, probably a 7. I think I would lean more towards a 7.5 if I could actually, sit down and watch it again and get all the plot details in there, and maybe be able to think about the themes that either I interpret or that I think that David Cronenberg was trying to put forward. I mean, it's a movie about an artist, a torture artist, and I feel like there's got to be some sort of, he's trying to tell you something about either the whole world in general or Vigo's characters. So yeah, I mean, I like that.
I'll say that I didn't get the same kind of. Well, so you said more than anything else we've watched that this makes you want to go back and see it, like watch it again, and you feel like you need to like really ascertain what the point of the film is. I would say that this and also Enemy was a lot like this as well, and Enemy had a lot of art house vibes too. I feel like a lot of unconventional decisions in the filmmaking process, and that one also was another one where all of us were like, this needs a second rewatch, right? Now that I know kind of what's going on. And I think this one didn't give me the hinting at such a profound meaning like Enemy did, right? I mean, Enemy felt like it had by the time you got to the end of the film, you felt like there was really a very singular, profound purpose that it was driving at, right? And this one's a little murkier than that.
Yeah, although like I wonder on a second watch though, is there more stuff to pick up on the concept of are these people still human, and kind of the take on that? Because I felt like there was definitely there's more than just one, it's more than just a passing comment. It gets brought up several times by different characters that certain people feel like they are evolving away from being human, and then that's kind of what feeds this idea that we need to eradicate these people that have this desire to eat synthetic things because we view them as not human. And I feel like that component, possibly, if there's more to that, that does have quite a bit of weight to it, because again, like anytime you come back to what is it that makes us human, at what point does somebody or something become not human, or could they attain humanity, I guess would be the flip side if you're going to go with like the Blade Runner idea. And so if there's more weight given to that, if you're, like on a closer watch where you're not going to be quite so like, you know what to expect with all the body horror and like the mutilation and stuff. So you're not going to be caught off guard by that. And you can really hone in on some of the other things. I do wonder if there's more to that. And maybe there's not. Maybe they didn't want to go that deep into it. Maybe they didn't include more. But I could see that possibly there might be. And if that's the case, then I would say like that has as much to say, or, you know, is as deep of a thematic element as something like Enemy is getting
Well, I
at.
think that's like any good piece of art is the ability for like anybody to watch it or look at it and get some sort of meaning from it, whether it's, you know, the intended meaning from the director or it's, you know, the same from a bunch of people who watch it. Like, I feel like there's a couple different ways that someone could watch this and like distill something from it. And yeah, I think it's good art house.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to watch some more then, huh?
Yeah.
Although genuinely his new one, it did seem interesting. Like, I didn't watch like a trailer for it or anything. I just recommended it. But the one that's called The Shrouds is from 2025. So it's like
The
brand
Shrouds.
new. And it's something about like technology that allows you to monitor the progress of your loved one's decay after they die. But then it gets like,
Ooh. Yeah.
but then it's something about like it's being exploited somehow. And I was like, that sounds interesting.
That sounds really good. That sounds juicy.
I know. I was
Diane
like,
Kruger,
that
Guy
could-
Pearce, Vincent Cassell. Okay.
It looked interesting. I was
board.
like that. I was like that little bit of a, you know, summary. I was like, I think I would watch that. Like that sounds, it. Yeah, like Aaron said, it could be juicy. There could be some.
Well, Aaron, any hinting at what our next film's going to be?
I'm strongly leaning towards Begonia. I need to look at the list that we have and see what I already put on there and like how much I want that to be the movie, or maybe this one that Karina just brought up. That sounds really interesting. I don't know. After I watched Begonia, I was like, this is podcast material, and I want to like know your guys' opinion on it. So yeah, that's what I'm leaning towards. But I don't know. We'll see. I'll message you guys.
And when are you going again? Like second week of March or
Towards
something?
April, but like yeah, late March, early
Okay.
April.
All right, so we'll still be recording before that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, this has been our debut into the world of art house films. Although I don't know, I feel like Enemy kind of
Enemy was pretty. Yeah, and then also I don't know if the substance is strictly art house, but it's definitely more out there than. And
It's definitely, yeah. It's
so what is art house? Like, are
I
we
would say
supposed
more
to
so.
be getting meat? What is art? No,
It's vague.
I feel like
Right.
the substance.
What is house?
I feel like we've seen some Buzzsaw, Velvet Buzzsaw.
Velvet Buzzsaw probably would also fall into that category. Like, it wasn't a very good movie, but I think it probably falls
Well,
into.
I want to revisit it.
Also, what's the one
It
that
might
you
be
mentioned,
better
Aaron?
than we
Yeah.
thought.
What's up?
What's the one that you picked? The
Sorry to bother
the
you.
one with the horse people.
Yeah, Sorry to Bother You.
bother you. That
That's
one's got
definitely
some art
art
house
house.
vibes
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I feel like one might be like 50-50. I feel like most of the movies that we've done while I was here have been art housey and
A lot of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because, yeah, I mean, in general, that stuff is going to lend itself to discussion more than, you know,
Typically.
The
watching a Marvel movie.
Mandalorian. You guys sold out.
Or The Mandalorian.
It's a good thing I'm
We
back.
watched. I mean, we were nothing but critical, I think.
Oh
But
really? I didn't listen to it.
It wasn't the Mandalorian. It was Boba Fett. Even
Oh.
worse.
Boba Fett, yeah.
Or the
Yeah, there was
Indiana
no
Jones.
praise from us, that's for sure. Okay, Indiana Jones is great.
Was it good?
I don't have a problem with, not the new one. We did, which one was it?
The original. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh,
I know, which one did we do?
No,
I don't remember.
not you.
I wasn't here.
We did. I'm trying to think what we did when Aaron was gone. We did Zombieland. We did Uncharted. We did. Actually,
Bunch of
one we
basic-
did you would have liked was Shallow Grave.
That sounds interesting.
No, Shallow Grave was a good one.
Oh, yeah, you should just watch that. It's
Yeah.
from the 90s. Yeah, that was a good one.
All right. I'll check it out.
I think you'd enjoy it. That one kind of falls into the art house.
I'll watch it and I'll like give it a rating at the end of the next one with like
Sure.
no context.
You
Just
should do it.
bop.
Oh, did you ever? You talked about you were gonna watch Godzilla -1. Did you ever get around to
No,
doing
thank
that?
you. I need to do that.
Because it's on Netflix.
It's on
You
Netflix?
definitely
Okay.
should. Yeah.
We started a document of like films that we wanted to recommend to each other, and I think I'm the only person that ever put anything on it. So like, get on it.
Yeah, we should use that.
I'm stopping the recording. Yeah.
Wait,
Good times.
Aaron.
What?
Aaron.
Okay, I'm
wait.
still
I
recording.
want to ask about your tattoo. When did you
Oh,
get
I got
that?
this on Friday the 13th.
Oh, they probably did a good deal,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
Every tattoo place does.
Man, I'm a little pissed because so we drove 3 hours to Newburgh because
To get the tattoo?
yeah, my cousin Stacy lives in McMinnville and she just got off of work and so she didn't want to drive to like Vancouver or Portland. She didn't want to meet us in the middle. So we drive all the way down there. She was waiting for us for like an hour. And so like as we're getting there, she finally is like she chose what she wanted. She's sitting down. And the tattooer like spends like 2.5, 3 hours on her arm, and it comes out like really good. I don't think that they put much thought when they decided what the designs were that they were going to be willing to do for like $100. Because hers was like full forearm sword with like other stuff in the background, and like he did a really good job, but he kept on telling stories and talking to us, which was cool, but he could not talk and tattoo at the same time. So he kept on putting his fucking gun
no.
down and like started telling us stuff and like pointing at stickers on his, toolbox and like talking about the 80s and cocaine, and I'm like, I don't care. I got work at 5 a.m. I want to go home. Yeah, and so it finally comes to my turn, and me and Natasha, we decided to like get sort of matching tattoos, it was like a window frame from a castle where you're looking out of it, and the one I picked had the moon, hers had the sun. So like, yeah, let's go with that one because it'll only cost up to $120. So it was gonna be a really good deal. But then he asked me what I want. I pointed at that one. He's like, "No, I can't do that. Like, we'll be here till midnight." I'm like, "Son of a bitch."
Oh, I thought you meant like he was just like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the skill.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, whatever. What about this one? This is like not as much detail and filling in and stuff. And he's like, yeah, we can do that real fast. And so he does it. He does it real fast. He spent like 30 minutes on my arm, and you can tell if you look really closely. Like there are some lines that are like a little crooked. Some parts that aren't like filling all the way. I think I'll be able to just go to another person and be like, can you fill it in a bit, make it look a little bit more polished? But I could tell he was eager to get out of there. And
usually you can get it touched up within 6 months or something with the original artist.
That's probably what I'll do. And it's like, it's a sun. I don't know how obvious it is, but like it's a sun and the moon.
I mean, like, it looks like the moon. I don't see...
So the sun...
Oh, there's the sun. There you go.
Moon.
Okay. Yeah,
and so I think
gotcha.
eventually I'm going to have other planets in the same sort of art style. Eventually, when I get rich. I got really lucky. I spent $100 on this. Like, even if he rushed through it, which I hate. And he...
Yeah, yours is way bigger than mine, and mine was 80.
Yeah, like, I don't think they're going to make the same mistake again and have all those crazy... Like, there was a lot of...
I mean, you might just want to, for your next ones, just like, I mean, if that's how he does things, you might want to just pick a different artist.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, same here. I need to pee.
Peace out.
Bye, everybody. Kink shaming.